Newton's second law of motion, as taught in schools to students, was not given by Newton. Newton gave a different definition in the Principia in 1686. The definition that is taught to students is a changed form of Principia's second law of motion. However, definitions of first and third law of motion taught in textbooks are taught in the same form. Only the definition of second law is changed. Newton's law is taught in the form of equation F equal to ma, that is force equal to mass into acceleration. This equation was given by Swiss polymath Euler in 1776 after Newton's death. The scientific community is silent over this issue. Why? The details of the discussions are available on www.newton99.com in research papers, articles, in interviews. The e-book Newton's Laws of Motion in the 21st Century is at the final stages. What is Newton's second law of motion?
Newton wrote an epoch-making masterpiece Principia in 1686 while he was a professor at University of Cambridge, England. The law was in the Principia on page 19 as, I quote, "The alternation of motion is ever proportional to the motive force impressed and is made in the direction of the right line in which that force is impressed." Unquote.
What is your basic objection to this law?
The textbook definition of the law, the rate of change of momentum of a body is directly proportional to the applied force and takes place in the direction in which force acts. It is different from the definition given by Newton in the Principia. My simple question is why the definition of Newton's second law of motion is changed. That is, Newton gave an original definition and a different definition is taught to the students in textbooks. Who changed it when it is changed? There are no direct answers to these questions. Such issues require deep discussions by scientists all over the world. So I have raised this issue at international conferences, in my research papers, books, which can be seen on my website www.newton99.com freely without any password for ready references.
What is the equation for the second law of motion?
Newton did not give any equation for the second law of motion. This is main problem. Now mathematically, Newton's second law of motion is expressed as force proportional to change in motion. Now motion is understood or described in terms of velocity. So force is equal to constant multiplied by change in motion, or force is equal to k constant multiplied by dv. What neither this equation nor its original definition is taught in the textbooks.
But in the standard textbooks, F equal to ma or force equal to mass into acceleration is taught as the equation for the second law of motion.
Again, Newton did not give equation F is equal to ma. The equation F is equal to ma was given by Swiss Leonhard Euler in 1776 in paper E479 on pages 222 to 224. For ready reference, this equation can be seen at website of Mathematical Association of America.
What do scientists say about the fact F equal to ma was given by Euler, not by Newton?
In the standard textbooks, the name of Euler is not mentioned at all. However, the Institute of Physics England has quoted in its website, I quote, "Newton did not include an explicit numerical measure or symbol for acceleration in his works. The expression for his second law as F is equal to ma first emerged more than half a century after the Principia was published in a paper by Leonhard Euler." I unquote. It can be seen on the website clearly. Its simple meaning is that Newton did not give F is equal to ma and a direct equation for acceleration. F is equal to ma was given after 50 years when Newton published the Principia. The last edition of the Principia was published in 1726 and the legend died a year after it. Now there are many examples that scientists agree Newton has no contribution regarding F is equal to ma. What this issue requires elaborated discussions as mentioned in documents of Newton99.com.
How do scientists associate F equal to ma with Newton's second law?
F is equal to ma is associated with Newton's second law of motion arbitrarily and unscientifically. Even Euler's name is not mentioned in textbooks who has actually given the equation. I quote from an authenticated reference. For example, Raman quoted the theme of existing literature in the journal The Physics Teachers published by American Institute of Physics in March 1972 at pages 136 to 137. Arbitrary assumptions by scientists. Scientists have made some assumptions. What? These assumptions are not scientifically valid. Firstly, scientists assume that change in motion is same as change in quantity of motion or momentum. When this assumption is used in Principia's definition of second law, then we get equation F is equal to km dv. It is not F is equal to ma, which scientists wanted to achieve. As desired equation is not achieved, then secondly, scientists made another assumption that change in motion is same as or equal to rate of change of quantity of motion or momentum. Then scientists get F is equal to kma. Now further value of k is regarded as unity to get F is equal to ma.
If scientists get F equal to ma by the method you cited, then what is the scientific problem? Be specific to illustrate your point of view.
The specific reply is equating above terms in the above assumptions are completely arbitrary and unscientific. The quantities change in motion, change in quantity of motion or momentum, rate of change of quantity of motion or momentum are entirely different. These cannot be scientifically and logically equated. These quantities have different units: meter per second, kg meter per second, kg meter per second square. Further, these quantities have different dimensions: m0 L t minus 1, ml t minus 1, ml t minus 2. In physics, only those quantities are equated which have same units and dimensions. These norms are followed in basic physics and established by International Union of Pure and Applied Physics. Due to these reasons, scientists have changed the Principia's definition of motion in textbooks and never mentioned that Euler had given F is equal to ma. I am pointing out the truth scientifically and after studying the facts for years.
Also, at some stage, some scientists might have realized the truth that neither acceleration nor F equal to ma was given by Newton. Who was that scientist?
First of all, an American historian of science, C. Trudell, published a detailed paper in the journal Archive for History of Exact Sciences in 1960 that F is equal to ma was given by Euler in 1752, never by Newton. Euler precisely gave F is equal to ma in 1776 when he was professor at St. Petersburg's Academy of Sciences. Euler gave many other equations of force.
Trudell pointed out the truth that F equal to ma was given by Euler, not by Newton. What was the effect of this revelation on the scientific community?
In 1972, in the journal American The Physics Teachers, published by American Institute of Physics, Raman inquired that why Euler's name is not associated with F is equal to ma in textbooks. Raman specifically quoted that Truesdell has pointed out more than a decade ago that Euler gave F is equal to ma and Newton did not give it.
If scientists agree that F equal to ma was not given by Newton, why do scientists do not state the same in standard textbooks?
F is equal to ma is the equation for Newton's second law of motion. It is established over 200 to 300 years in textbooks, research notes, and other documents, etc. It is correct that Euler and Raman has raised the point, but just single sentence is not sufficient. This issue requires global interactions at various scientific institutions. I am pointing out the various aspects of the history of science. We should remember that we taught for about 1500 to 1600 years that the sun revolves around the earth. However, the modes of communication are faster nowadays, so people can understand even different scientific opinions quickly. Further, the rest depends upon the scientific community. My papers and scientific discussions regarding Newton's all three laws of motion are available on website newton99.com and in my forthcoming book Newton's Laws of Motion in 21st Century, which is at final stages. Thank you.